Baseball, baseball. This is a topic of yours. I feel like this is
This
close
has
to your
been my
heart.
pet cause since 2019.
You've been sounding this alarm right here. And for the first time, it appears others are taking it seriously. Last week, we had the finale, the incredible game 7 between the Dodgers and the Blue Jays. And it's known to be one of the greatest baseball games ever played. Ratings for the modern era, I would say, were fantastic. And then when you take an international lens, not that that's the primary lens of ours, it might have been over 51 million people when you throw in Japan and Canada, some of these other countries. And it's led people to wonder. Many people are saying, I'm looking at a tweet right here from a writer responding to your tweet, actually. It appears baseball is firmly the number 2 sport in America. The World Series has demolished the NBA Finals over the last 2 years. The pitch clock has changed everything and is bringing fans back. Conversely, I think fans are rejecting the style of play in the NBA. A lot of different angles, man. What say you?
Well, there is a lot of different angles, but I've kind of been arguing this since 2019 that I think when you add all of the factors together, that if MLB isn't more popular than the NBA in aggregate across the United States, then it's close. And it's a lot closer than, you would think when you're watching national sports talk shows on ESPN or FS1, where the NBA, just the market share of conversation versus MLB is gotta be like 95 to 5 if baseball's even at 5. And so, here's where it comes down to. For the most part, even though the World Series did beat the NBA, more people nationally watch NBA telecasts than MLB throughout the season. And the NBA is a much bigger national TV deal to go along with that. Um the where then also social media. NBA beats MLB on social media. That is undeniable. So those things are firmly in the NBA's corner. But then you start to look at other factors. You look at local TV viewership, and I did a study in 2019 that showed on a per game basis, in cities where there is NBA and MLB teams, the MLB teams have more viewers than the NBA teams in most of them.
Hmm.
And so like there's this idea that like the NBA is this urban sport, but where the NBA really cleans up, Ethan, is in outposts like, Oklahoma City,
Yep.
Salt Lake City, Memphis, especially when the Grizzlies are hot. They get enormous ratings there where they're the only professional team in town. And then you look at attendance, and there's about 50% more people go to the average MLB game than the average NBA game, and there's twice as many of them. And people are like, well, the stadiums are so much bigger, the arenas are so much smaller. It's like, wait a minute. There are some big arenas. Like they could build arenas that are the size of baseball stadiums, and they don't do it.
Hmm.
They just built this new Clippers arena in the second biggest city in America, and it holds 18,000 people. You don't think like they would want to build a 30,000 person arena if they thought that many people would go to Clippers games, and then you can sell that many more tickets to concerts and WWE and whatever else passes through there? Like, no, they have a limited capacity and they're building their facilities for that. You disagree with this part?
I don't disagree with it. It's an interesting point because I think the limitations of the sport are part of it. That I don't think many people want to be really far away from an NBA game in the way that they would tolerate being far away from the vast green expanse of baseball. But the counter argument that helps you is, hey, that's a feature of baseball, right? That's part of the appeal. It is what it is. There are more people willing to be in person for this than there are for
Pay a lot of
basketball.
money to go to those Final Four games in football stadiums. So
Mm,
and those are far away, and I've been sitting far away in some of those games. I don't think I would do it again, but to your
mm.
point, so I don't know that's a great argument for me, but they do it. And yeah, someone messaged in the chat like load management. We've gone through all of these things with the NBA where they tell you that the regular season doesn't matter with how much the stars are interesting. The players don't seem to have any type of emotions either towards the fans or even winning. We've gone through that. You look at like baseball teams, when they win, they have these champagne celebrations. When the Oklahoma City Thunder won the table, it was like, you know, a bulletin board material at the Stoic convention. Like they just it wasn't any type of like hugely meaningful experience in their lives. And so we've been through all of this, like that, like, you know, the players in baseball seem to love playing baseball and relish the idea of winning and hate the idea of losing more than you see in these NBA games. But it's, you know, I think it's been like, so game 7 of the World Series.
Can I don't want to derail you, but it's just an irony, and this is an interjection. There is a player on the Dodgers who told a friend of mine, a reporter, and I know it on absolute good authority, that he doesn't like baseball at all. He dislikes it, and that basketball is by far his favorite sport. And he just happens to be amazing at this. So there's an irony there that baseball, even though there are such people who just happen to be great at it, are actually conveying a love of the game versus the NBA. But you were saying, Ryan.
So game 7 of the World Series drew over 50% more viewers than game 7 of the NBA Finals. But Ryan and Ethan, there's a big market, the Dodgers. Oklahoma City and Indianapolis cannot compete.
The squeaky NBA fan has entered the chat.
But no, it's, you know, the last 2 years with the Dodgers, and by the way, the Dodgers are going to be in this a lot more. So get used to using like the Dodgers as some type of like, whoa, they've got the Dodgers in there. Yeah. And they're going to be there probably at least half the time for the next decade. So that's going to be somewhat of a constant, and as far as my crystal ball goes. But you've made the point, Ethan, that, you know, as much as fans claim to hate dynasties, they tune in for them.
Yeah, they want continuity. They want familiarity. I think it's conflated with big market. I don't think that's the case. I don't believe that more people would watch the Knicks in the finals than if the Warriors made it back there. You can call me Bay Area biased, but I think the NBA made a mistake. If I'm going to give an overall criticism of Adam Silver, who has certainly done certain things well, I don't think he understands people. I think he works backwards from focus group responses and tries to figure it out from there, and almost makes the mistakes you would anticipate a malfunctioning AI to make, where it's, well, I see that people like scoring, people like offense. Let's make it so every game is 150 to 145. No, that's not what people like. They just don't want it to be the doldrums of the early 2000s. They want something that's more in balance. People say that only a few teams can compete. We need parity, parity, parity. We need like a hard cap. No, people might complain about that, but certainly casual fans at least want to recognize who's good and want to feel part of some piece of history. And if it feels like a raffle every year, it's not as interesting. So I think one of my themes on this right here, I'll give a couple stats, and then we're going to put up charts of what the ratings look like. One of my themes is that I think baseball is actually not gaining. I think the NBA is slipping, and it's creating this dynamic right here.